this. And hey everybody, it is another School of 5D learning session, and today we are going to cover a little bit of all the topics that are outlined in the curriculum, which is on the website. There'll be the website address in the comments or in the description. So I'm feeling really good. I think I fixed the microphone so I don't have to do this whole close-up shot thing, because I was just trying to be close to the microphone. I think I turned it up, and you guys should be able to hear this without having to sort of see the pores of my face. At the School of 5D, which is located in Roberts Creek on the Sunshine Coast, on Mount Elphinstone, above Roberts Creek really, we'll be covering 4 different major sections. One is interdimensionality, and the second one is music, and the third one is forest survival, living in the forest and really connecting with the forest on many different levels. And the fourth one is the way of the yogi, the way of the spiritual person, the way of the shaman. So let's start out with the interdimensionality. Everybody wants to know how to get out of the 3rd dimension and get into the 5th dimension. And I've said quite a few things about that. I guess I'll just start out by saying that the dreaming dimension is a good example of an alternative dimension that you experience. I'm also going to say again that your imagination is another dimension that you experience. I'm going to direct you to esoteric knowledge or wisdom, poetry, music, things that use symbology and art that will allow you to be pulled into another dimension. This involves sacred geometry, space and time, in ways that it is very difficult to describe. And while you can use a lot of technical terms, the best thing, of course, is for you to experience these things. As you move out of 3D, you will find that you will be making a lot of decisions in a different way. So you, instead of planning and using your mind and trying to work with reality, which is very unpredictable, as you know. So let's face it, every time you make plans, they just don't work out, do they? So it's not you. Don't feel bad. It's reality that's unreliable. What is more reliable is when you pull in various different methods to make a decision or to plan. And so one of the ways that we might use is tarot cards, or dowsing, or crystal meditations with crystals. And when I say all of these things, these things are really easy to say. It's really easy to say, okay? But the practical application of these things is what you really want to get to. So you really do want to take a crystal and you want to examine it carefully. You want to build a relationship with it by looking at it and by noting every detail, much as you would a person that you loved. You would want to hold it and squeeze it and spend time with it and carry it around with you, and then you can expect to begin to experience on a subtle level, most likely, the information, the energy that there is to get from that crystal. So these days we just go, oh well, crystal energy is great. Heard a lot of fabulous things about those crystals. I heard that tourmaline fixes this and that, so I think I'm just going to go to the crystal shop and get one, and then I'm going to put it someplace nice in my house, and just kind of let it sit there. Because, not much is going to happen, of course. So, I want to emphasize that if you want to get into a 5D space where synchronicities are happening, where your higher selves, the past, the present, and the future, which is what the now is. The now is like, if you think about a looping infinity symbol, the past is weaving its way into this now, and so is the future. And in order to grasp that energy and bring the power of that into how you move forward, you want to start to engage these non-physical aspects of life and of going about life. Of course, we hear a lot about Kundalini and that sex is a portal or an energy that can be used in a spiritual manner. And of course it is, but the trick to that is to never think about sex. So if you can go about physical sexual activities without making it sexual, you're going to have an interesting experience. The other way to engage 5D is, as I've mentioned before, is to remove certain things. So in some cases you're going to add things, and in other cases you're going to remove things. And things that you definitely want to remove are these energies like greed, jealousy, envy, competition, hierarchy, and you will want to bring in equality and fairness and loving kindness and compassion, empathy, all of these different things. And then you will find yourself in a world of synchronicities, and then you will begin to experience the very wise teachings that are in books like the Tao Te Ching, like the Dhammapada, which I happen to pick up a copy of. I might read you a little bit later in this when we get to the sort of Buddhism part. As you read these great pieces of wisdom, or as you begin to research different shamans or medicine people, and you start to read about their experiences, because you want to be in that dimensional awesome place that they're in. This is about practice. This is about you engaging 5D via working at it. That's right. So keeping your mind free of excessive thoughts is a real good way to do that too. And I began my journey by just saying, thinking, it's highly overrated. Thinking, it's highly overrated. And you want to be intuiting and feeling your way through. And you need to trust yourself. You need to trust yourself a lot. So let's just move on now to the second part of the School of 5D curriculum, which is music. Now, you might ask yourself, what are we good for anyways? We seem to just wreck things and make a big mess and stuff. And what is our role here on the planet? Well, I have said that it is our role to raise the consciousness of not only ourselves, but all the other beings on the planet. And the other thing is that our vibration assists the plants to grow. And so we are singing and our drumming, which are two things that I will be able to work with you on in person, are very important to the overall physiological growth of this planet. And so a meaningful life is a life with music in it. And while I'm not going to give you a music lesson, I am going to encourage you very much to engage your singing voice, to continue to experiment, to not judge yourself, and to go ahead and pick up whatever you have and begin to tap things out, begin to drum and begin to engage that. because of course the singing and the drumming will be a huge doorway also to the dimensions. But we'll talk more about that, and I will do some demonstrations online in this format with you. So let's move now to the third topic, which is the forest and living in the forest and being at home in the forest. My last video on forest plants, I missed quite a few things, but you're just going to be amazed once you start engaging the plants, how much there is to learn and how much food and tools and medicine is out there. So one thing I didn't talk about was mosses. And at Peace Camp, I teach people to use the sphagnum moss. The sphagnum moss has antibiotic properties, and it can be crushed and used as a bandage. And of course, the sphagnum moss, the puppies are running around, is the one that Indigenous women did use as menstrual pads and for babies' diapers. Come here, sweetie pie. Do you want to come and see the 4 people that are watching? Come on, honey. See? There's only like 4 of you, but you get to see the puppy. You see, look. This is what it's all about. If you want to be in 5D, you need to connect with stuff that is in its purified state and hasn't had any Illuminati brainwashing and stuff like that, like this sweet little puppy. And when you connect with the energy of purity and innocence, you're in the right place. So we use the plants for so much, for so very much. I also wanted to touch on the tree sap, which I have used as tooth fillings, which I eat all the time because it's antifungal. And I'm going to touch on antibiotic properties. The inner bark of red alder is antibiotic, and you can take it over a long period of time like a tea, and it will have the same effect as antibiotics. Of course, all the great medicines are out there. That red alder bark will also kill lice. So you can just boil it up, and a red paste will float to the bottom. You put that paste in your hair, and then the next morning when you wake up, your lice are gone. It also, it's a dye. It's a dye, and it penetrates the eggs as well and kills them, and your hair is hennaed. So it's our henna here, and you can dye your hair with it. So your hair will be a beautiful sort of rusty brown color, like a coppery color, really. The plants and the trees, so and the forest. So I'm also going to teach you how to make a fire in the rain. I'm going to teach you how to use tree bark to do that, and I'm going to teach you how different kinds of wood burn, and how to really create these different kinds of fires that are for different purposes, like how to keep your fire going all night, what's a good cooking fire. I'm going to teach you how to cook anything on a fire, including baking. And of course, we're going to engage tribal building. And we have plans for tribal dwellings from all over the world, and you can experiment with that. The last thing that we have as a major topic is the way of the shaman or the way of the yogi. And as I've said before, I am a Sangha member of the Kunzang Samten Yangtze Hermitage, otherwise known as the Dharma Fellowship on Denman Island, and my Lama is Lama Kunzang. His Western name is Rodney Devonish, and these are some of the greatest teachings I have ever come across. I'm not a proponent or a promoter of any religion because, as you know, our major religions and our governments were infiltrated by something called the Illuminati and have been really messed with, and there would be elements of Buddhism that have also been adversely affected by things like patriarchy and other things. So none of these things are perfect. I think I'm just going to read you something from the Dhammapada, because it is part of the Buddhist canon, or a bunch of writings that have been accepted as Buddhist teachings. And I guess the real one is the Pali Canon. These are the teachings that come from Buddha himself, which many people are very unfamiliar with. I see so many memes that are supposedly quotes from Buddha. No. So just hang on for one moment. I'm going to grab my Dhammapada. Now, when we have a Dharma session, a learning session at Peace Camp, everyone is given a piece of Dharma, a book like this. And what we do is each person holds it, and we will have a discussion about something like reincarnation, or something, a spiritual topic that we will first of all explore through our own experiences and what our own perceptions are and how we feel about it. Because very often, if you just get taught something, then it sort of seems to clear what you may have to offer. So I like to approach a subject when I teach it, and I like to hear what my students have to offer to the topic first. So then after we would discuss, then we would usually come to a place where nobody has the answer. And then I would randomly ask someone, whoever would like to put their book on their lap, and then take the book and just go like this until you feel it's time to stop, and then read whatever it is. And about 100% of the time it completely relates. Now this is just random Buddhism right now, and we'll see what the Dhammapada has to offer us. Going forth into homelessness is difficult. It's hard to enjoy. Household life is difficult. It's painful. Living with discordant people is suffering. A traveler is subject to suffering, so don't be a traveler, and don't be subject to suffering. People endowed with faith, virtue, fame, and wealth are revered wherever they go. From afar, good people shine like the Himalaya mountains. Close up, bad people disappear like arrows shot into the night. Sitting alone, resting alone, walking alone, untiring and alone, whoever has tamed oneself will find delight in the forest. Now, I didn't read the first part of all of the verses there, so it was a bit kind of out of there. But I will say that if you do look at some of the greatest teachers ever, you will find that they started their journey by going to the forest alone and finding out what there is to find out in a relationship that is all about you and your relationship with absolutely everything. And when you bare yourself naked in all respects to all of the energies of this planet and the universe, and begin a relationship with all of that, somewhere along the line, you're going to find yourself to be a very happy person who has found out many, many wonderful things. And I really want to encourage you to look at entering 5D, experiencing the other dimensions, connecting with nature, connecting with art and music, and all of these things as your own unique path. And I want you to create that a lot based on you and your preferences and your intuitions. And as I do this, I'm going to encourage you time and time again to not be a follower and to be the leader of your own experience and your own life. Okay, everyone, thank you for encouraging me to continue to do this. I'm going to continue to do this. All right. Namaste. Namago.